I'm Brandon Stoffer, and today I'm going to talk to you about building a high-powered gaming PC for under $1,200. For years, I thought I needed $2,000 or more to really build a gaming PC that I wanted that would give me the best experience with the games I wanted to play, specifically online first-person shooters, which are games that I tend to gravitate toward the most. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to be behind in terms of equipment, that I wasn't going to be losing because of dropped frames or because of bad graphics. So I found with this gaming PC, I ran it through benchmark tests, I ran it through multiple games, and it has performed wonderfully. An important part that I want to make sure I cover is that the price for this does not include peripherals. It does not include monitors. So you're not going to be building this gaming PC and be good to go. You'll need a keyboard and mouse. You'll need a monitor. You'll need your own headphones or speakers. Those are all going to be additional costs. What I'm talking to you about is just the tower and the build and the components that go inside. Starting off, the first component that I purchased was the CPU. The CPU is an AMD Ryzen 5 3600. The reason I went with the Ryzen 5 is because I'm always worried about spending more for a better product if I feel like I'm not going to be using it to its fullest capabilities. And from what I've read online, the AMD Ryzen 5 works wonderfully for almost all games. And the main games that I'm always going to be testing this on was games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Fortnite, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Warzone, and it has run beautifully on all of those games. And the price of the Ryzen 5 is considerably lower than the comparable CPUs from Intel. The Intel i7, the Intel i9. The AMD Ryzen 5, you can find it online for around $175. So that was my first component that I purchased. And after that came in the mail, I quickly realized I was ready to make the plunge and buy everything else. So I dove in and did research for all the remaining components I needed to build. The next component I purchased was the motherboard. I bought an MSI MPG X570 Gaming Edge with Wi-Fi capabilities. I'll be honest, I splurged a little bit on the motherboard. The B450 Tomahawk can run all of these components just fine. And everywhere I've read online, the Tomahawk is a great budget motherboard that you can buy for considerably cheaper than this motherboard that I purchased. This motherboard ran about $200. But I needed Wi-Fi capability because my current setup in this current room, I don't have an Ethernet connection, and I wasn't about to drill holes and run an Ethernet cable all throughout my house just to reach the router. So I went with the motherboard that can give me Wi-Fi capabilities, which ran me about $50 more than other comparable motherboards. So, and with this motherboard, it comes with a little bit of RGB just on the back side of the motherboard, which you can see there. Nothing too flashy, but I'm a fan of the RGB elements, so I thought this would be a good motherboard that would fit what I needed. My next component that I purchased was my memory. I got two 8GB sticks of the Corsair Vengeance Pro RGB. I actually went a little bit above what I needed to just to get the RGB element. Again, I'm a sucker for RGB, so I spent about $10 more for these sticks. And now that I look back on it, no guilt whatsoever. I'm happy, provides a little bit of light, gives me a little bit of excitement. And when I ran a benchmark test, there was the only component on my PC that was underperforming. I had to go into the BIOS to enable some settings to let the memory sticks run to its fullest capacity. The next component I got was the EVGA GeForce RTX 2060 GPU. The reason I went with this particular graphics card was because it was cheaper than most other RTX cards, and the fact that it was an RTX card means it would last me a lot longer with its ray tracing capabilities when more things come out with that functionality a part of it. The next component I bought was the power supply unit. I bought an EVGA 600 watt non-modular PCU. That ran me about $60. Again, a fairly inexpensive component. If you were to spend a little bit more, I would recommend getting a semi-modular or modular power supply unit, because then you would have a little bit more control over your cables and getting it to the point where you want for cable management and even for the look and design, because you can buy some custom cables to plug into your power supply unit and your motherboard. So if you have the extra money, I'd recommend getting a semi-modular power supply unit. My next component is the storage. I wanted to start off slow it's always something that's very easy to add on down the road. So I started with a 500 gigabyte solid state drive, and that was the Samsung 860 EVO. And I always recommend starting with a solid state drive for all of your programs you need to boot up fast, any high-powered games that you want to make sure are running at its full capacity. And if there are additional files, large files, videos, music, photos that you want to add, that you're going to be adding onto your PC, you can always add in a hard drive disk later on, or even just buy it and include it a part of your build. I didn't initially include it a part of my build. A month down the road, I bought a hard drive, a 2 terabyte Western Digital hard drive, just so I could have more space, because I found out very quickly that some of the games I wanted to play took up those 500 gigs within the matter of a week. If you're going to start with just playing 1 or 2 games, I recommend just grabbing the solid state drive to start, and you can always add more on later. What encompasses my full build here is an NZXT case, the H510. I went with the H510 because it was a cheaper model. It's a little bit smaller than the H700 models, but I didn't need that extra space. Some people use that for customization. Some people get, robust cooling units a part of their PC build. But I didn't need that functionality, and I wanted to go a little bit cheaper. I wasn't planning on adding a lot of elements within my PC build, and so the H510 case worked perfectly for me. And then last but not least was the operating system. I got the Microsoft Windows 10 operating system so that I could download and run games and have a little bit more customization opportunity than I would trying to get a Mac operating system. Thanks for tuning in. I've included links to my PC in the description below. If you have any comments on comparable parts or parts that could drive down the cost while still maintaining a high-performance gaming experience, feel free to drop them in the comments below. And go ahead and like and subscribe and tune in for my next video. Thanks for joining.